New year, new travel plans. Where will you be heading in 2015?
This week on The Travel Show, booking a trip this year, I've got our top tips for where to go. We're behind the scenes with the acrobats and contortionists of Tanzania's Mama Africa Circus. Cities ablaze with lights and snowboarding with the pros. Find out where in this month's Global Guide. And we're in Dubai to go high flying in the world's tallest wind tunnel.
Welcome to The Travel Show, coming to you this week from Singapore. Now, 2015 is going to be a big year for the city-states as it marks the 50th anniversary of independence. That means that Singapore has been tipped as one of the top destinations for this year. But what other countries are on the list, and what other travel trends do you need to know about in 2015? Just behind me is Singapore's Sports Hub, which will play host to the 28th Southeast Asian Games in June. 11 countries will be taking part in the competition, which involves 402 events across 36 sports, so pretty hectic to say the least.
Of course, Singapore isn't the only place where sports events are expected to draw large crowds. In Azerbaijan's capital Baku, the first ever European Games will take place from the 12th to the 28th of June. And organisers expect over 100,000 visitors to the city. Over in Toronto, improvements have been made to the city's transport and infrastructure in preparation for the Pan and Parapan American Games in July and August. And in Brazil, the world's first indigenous games will be hosted in Palmas in September. This year will be the first year that competitors from indigenous groups across the globe will be taking part. Alongside Singapore, some other interesting destinations take the top spots on Lonely Planet's annual list of must-see countries. Ireland and Nicaragua both find themselves in the top 5 along with Namibia, which celebrates 25 years of independence from neighbouring South Africa. With events throughout 2015 across this beautiful country with its diverse and vast landscapes. And travellers in Europe should find a visit to Lithuania a whole lot easier in 2015 as the Baltic state becomes the latest country to join the Eurozone, also earning it a place in the top 5 list. And it's not just new destinations that will be on our travel radar this year. The way we plan our holidays and what we do when we get there has been rapidly changing.
The amount of people booking their holidays on their tablets or smartphones is higher than ever.
But new ways to use our devices are becoming more popular. Caroline researches travel and tourism trends around the world and says people may be starting to move away from the traditional booking websites.
One area of mobile development that we've seen really take off in Asia is instant messaging. And so this is where consumers will interact with brands through instant messaging. For example, we have WeChat in China and Line in Japan that are hugely popular in Asia. For example, WeChat, you're able to follow your favorite travel brands. You can opt in to receive information, notifications about services, about activities, and also you have the option to book. So this is really a huge development, a step forward that we're seeing in Asia.
And 2015 could mark the year where this becomes a thing of the past and your travel plans could be made by a few swipes of the wrist.
With the introduction of the Apple smartwatch later this year, and advances in Google Glass, wearable technology is expected to be big.
The idea is to be able to sync your watch with your smartphone apps, but there are a lot of limitations. The actual screen is very tiny, and the only information that you can receive on your watch are the itineraries or flights. You can't do any of the booking. That still has to be done on the smartphone itself.
There are some challenges to the development of wearables, such as the connection and also having to be synced currently to another device. These are called passive devices. However, we expect that autonomous mobile devices or wearable devices will overtake passive devices by 2017.
Wearable technology could mean that you can see the city you're visiting in a totally different way. But what if you're looking for a more traditional experience?
We have the rise of eating with local websites, where you can ask to go to somebody's house, sit down, and you'll have dinner with them and other guests that are interested in meeting people from the local city or destination.
Now that's a trend I can get on board with. So I've come here to Ang Mo Kio to meet Sally, who's going to let me try some of Singapore's more traditional food. Hello, how are you? I'm good. How's things? Sally, right?
Yes. Come, Henry.
Sally is registered on one of a growing number of peer-to-peer dining networks.
So what are we cooking today, Sally?
Chili crab?
Chili crab.
Yes, it's Singapore chili crab.
What do you get out of having people or strangers sort of come into your home and you cooking for them?
We can actually explore people culture. Instead of going to overseas, they came and visit us, so we can exchange some information. And this is actually quite a unique experience where you actually go to the locals' house and really have their home cook.
Time to try out Sally's specialty crab.
Yeah. Delicious.
So expect to see an increase in online technology and social media coming together this year to give travel a more local and personal feel.
It's like being one of the family. There you are, 2015 in a nutshell. Now, it's bound to be an exciting year for all of us here on the Travel Show. So don't forget, you can follow us throughout the year on the road by signing on to one of our social media feeds. And we want to hear from you this year and wherever you're heading. So tweet us on a Tuesday with the hashtag Travel Tuesday, and we'll retweet some of your best travel pics and maybe even feature them on our website.
Next, we've got the first in a series that meets the artists and performers behind some of the world's most unique circuses. To kick off, we head to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania to meet the people behind one of Africa's most groundbreaking circuses.
Mama Africa, 7 years on the road, over 2 million audience watched the show since the beginning. We've performed in all 6 continents, and everything started from a humble beginning. I'm inviting you guys to come to the Mama Africa Circus School. This is here in the ghetto in Magomeni, in Dar es Salaam. This is where the whole product begins. Are you guys ready for the practice today? Yeah.
I'm teaching here, guys, just to make them strong, physical fit, so that they can manage to do this acrobatic easy. Sometimes it's very hard because people, they came here and they say, okay, this is the place where I can do something. But according to their body, according to the physical, they are not fit. Yeah, you better go somewhere else, choose another stuff to do. This one, you can't make it. You are not fit physically. I used to say that.
I feel pain, but not so much. But when I will start contortion. I was feeling pain too much. One day I was sitting and I say, oh, maybe I can stop this. And I do another things. But my heart say, no, I like and I want to know. So.
Me and my friend, we just get invited here by Winston Rudo because he was looking for the talent. I love what I'm doing. Acrobat is such a good thing to do in your life. I mean, every kid wishes to do the same thing as I'm doing right now. So that's a good thing because the thing is fun, scary, too risky, but I love it. Here, there's a lot of talented people, but they don't have a sponsor. So like the place to practice, the bus fare for the people for where they live, because most of the people, they live in such a terrible life.
What makes African circus different and more unique from the other circuses like the Chinese or the Russians is because the Africans, when they go on the stage, they really enjoy what they do, Okay, we're not as skillful as the Chinese acrobats or the Russian acrobats, but we are more happy. The African artists, I think they connect much better to the audience, and that's what the audience want to see, That's what I think makes an African circus unique from other circuses.
Time now for this week's travel update.
Two Americans have become the first to make it 900 meters up the Dawn Wall of El Capitan, a particularly sheer cliff face in California's Yosemite Park. They've been free climbing using only their hands and feet, albeit attached to safety lines. It took 19 days to complete, with each night spent dangling from the side of the rock. Over to Thailand and some extraordinary pictures of a wild elephant destroying a car at Khao Yai National Park near Bangkok. The park chief says the aggression was a result of the mating season. The advice is stay clear of certain roads in the park and avoid turning your car engine off, honking the horn or flashing headlights if you're confronted by an elephant. Nobody was hurt in the attack. And you may well have noticed a bit more bare flesh than usual on the world's subway systems last week. The annual No Pants subway ride happened for the 14th year. The movement began in New York in 2002, but has spread to more than 60 cities worldwide. They say more people took their trousers off for this year's event than for any other so far.
Still to come on this week's travel show.
Joe Worley heads to Dubai to take a flight inside the world's largest wind tunnel.
The Travel Show, your essential guide wherever you're heading.
Hello, this is my global guide, destination highlights, insider buzz and top tips on where to go and when to go. I'm Michelle Yana-Chan. First, Scotland is celebrating. From January 23rd, the Big Burns Supper takes place across the town of Dumfries, a 9-day fringe festival of music, theatre and comedy. 100 different shows in over 50 different venues. The festival's named after Robert Burns, Scotland's celebrated bard, whose poetry continues to define this country's cultural heritage. To the mountains. From January 29th, it's the Burton European Open in Largs, Switzerland, one of Europe's coolest snowboarding events. Hundreds of amateurs get to challenge the world's top pro riders. It's 6 days of elite competing on a new superpipe and slopestyle course on Graps on John Mountain. In spite of the snow, the theme is all things Hawaiian. Go figure. Further west, the French ski resort of Val d'Isère is hosting the Frost Gun Invitational, a big air competition, but also a music festival. There'll be freestyle skiers and snowboarders competing from February 10th through 12th, with spectators gathered at the foot of the former Olympic downhill slope, Faster Boulevard, in the heart of the village. Keep your snow boots on, because from February 2nd, Stockholm Design Week will take over the Swedish capital. The Stockholm Furniture and Light Fair happens at the same time too. It's a big gathering of craftsmen, architects, artists, and anyone with an eye for pioneering Scandi designs. There'll be new products, new materials, new trends, and new environmental and tech solutions, plus must-visit art installations and special exhibitions on show. There'll be more traditional design on show in the US at the Tulsa Indian Art Festival in Oklahoma, a celebration of American Indian culture. There'll be traditional dancing and storytelling, as well as Native American art market with painters, potters and beadworkers. Back in Europe, Belgium is set to burn brightly. Happening only once every 3 years, the Ghent Light Festival dazzles the city. From January 29th for 4 days, historical sites and monuments are lit up in ingenious ways. This year, an extended light path is planned too. Illuminations begin at 6 p.m. and last through midnight. Check out the free app with more on the route and the artists. Another city will be glowing too. Until March 1st, super illumination will take over the city of Osaka, Japan, with eye-catching 3D projection mapping. The 400-year-old Osaka castle will be transformed by some spectacular imagery. The building will be split in two and also set ablaze. The light show will extend into the castle's gardens too. Finally, most visitors who come to the cobble streets of this Czech city are here for the beer. But this year there's another compelling reason to visit when Pilsen becomes European capital of culture. The 700-year-old city in Western Bohemia will have a chance to redefine itself beyond beer as a hub of the arts. There'll be hundreds of performances from theatre to music to dance to art exhibitions, as well as Le Cirque Nouveau, bringing together some of the world's leading new circus ensembles. That's my global guide this month. Let me know what's happening in the place where you live or where you love. We're on email and across social media. Until next time, happy travelling.
Now we're off to Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. It's known for its skyscrapers, beaches and shopping malls, not for extreme sport. But half an hour outside the city centre is this place, the world's biggest wind tunnel. We sent Joe Worley to give it a go.
Now, I've never actually been skydiving before. Blind terror's probably the reason for that. But I'm told this is the closest you can get to the experience without using a parachute. Only one way to find out. I'm feeling a little apprehensive as I climb the stairs, especially when I see an advanced flyer jumping and spiralling around the tube.
Hi, how are you? My name's Mark.
All right.
Instructor.
Please tell me what's going on here. I'm terrified.
We are going to go flying.
How is it working? There's all this air coming up from the bottom.
Yeah, we've basically got fans in the roof that recirculate around the building, which push the air through a tube, which makes you fly in the centre.
I'm not going to be able to do this. It looks absolutely terrifying.
I promise you will love it. All it is a lot of wind. Bring the arms out in front of the face. Nice and high.
First, a rather undignified training session to learn the body positions and hand signals I'll need while I'm in the tunnel.
How's that feeling?
Not the most comfortable, but I think I can do this. We won't be able to hear each other over the roaring wind, so I need to remember what the different signals mean.
Bend your legs.
Okay.
Relax. And the big one is nice, high chin.
Before I can fly, I need to get kitted out in a boiler suit. Oh, the glamour. And collect a helmet and goggles for the flight.
There's the windy tube.
Mark checks I'm not wearing jewellery, as loose objects are dangerous in these 175-mile-an-hour winds. Go and show me how it works then.
So it's the entrance we're going through. And that's a little bit springy, but you're okay.
Yeah, it's like a trampoline.
Yeah.
So, how high does it reach?
The top end of the wall there, 6 to 7 feet. And the glass that's going up as well, it's the biggest in the world. As soon as the air turns on, you'll hear the wind, you'll hear the fans going, and you'll feel the wind getting faster and faster and faster.
I didn't expect it to go down so far. They're the vents.
It's a big drop, yeah, that's how it works. So the wind's getting pushed up, then it starts to thin at the top, which compresses the air, which makes you fly up.
And up I go.
And up you go to the top. The quicker that you can relax inside there, the better you're going to fly.
Away from the cameras and with nerves kicking in, Mark gives me some last-minute advice.
So nice and chilled out.
There's no going back now. The sound of the wind starting up doesn't really settle my nerves. I try to remember what Mark told me about relaxing whilst keeping a good body shape in the air. But this feels like stepping into a hurricane. The force of the jets make it hard to breathe, never mind relax. I seem to have no control of my arms and legs. Seeing I'm struggling, Mark takes me outside for some reassurance.
Really good. Yeah. Just think, slowly move the arms, okay?
Now that I know what to expect, I'm determined to do this. This time, I feel much more in control. I've taken Mark's advice and stopped trying to fight the wind. I can pretty much hover without his help. I'm just getting the hang of it when he grabs my arm and leg and spirals me 20 metres to the top of the tube. It's a shock. I feel like any second I'm going to slam headfirst into the wall. But once I realise that isn't going to happen, I start to enjoy it. This is the closest you can get to flying.
My hands are only just stopping shaking. I was absolutely out of control in there. Well, it felt like it, but it was an absolutely incredible experience. It's so different to anything else I've ever done.
Well, that's all the time we've got for this week, but coming up next week on The Travel Show.
We head back to Dubai to meet the people turning the city's warehouses and back streets into cutting-edge art galleries.
Well, join us for that if you can. But in the meantime, remember, you can keep up to date with all of us wherever we are in the world by signing on to our social media feeds. All the details should be on the bottom of your screens now. And send us your travel pics with the hashtag #TravelTuesday. But for me, Henry Golding, and the rest of the Travel Show team here in Singapore, it's goodbye.